What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast. It's called What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Today on the program, speaking of entertainment, I have Travis Pickering. Travis Pickering? Oh, you know that name. Oh, he's a music sensation, country artist, songwriter, recording artist out of Calgary, Alberta. That's Canada to you and me. We're going to get to hear a little bit more of his story in the next few minutes, so stick around. This week's shows, I have one public show, my faithful Friday night at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. It's a little concert starring each and every one of you. So come on out to the Rab Friday night. The Rab in Conway, Arkansas, from 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the a.m. They got a full bar, kitchens open, pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday night. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, come on out to the Rab. Bring your friends and have some fun at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. And then on Saturday, I'm at a new place. I think it's a private event, but it's at a public place. I'm at the Valhalla Hatchet Throwing Event Center. It's a brand new place in Morrilton, Arkansas. I don't know. Unless you're invited, I don't think you can come. But check it out. Valhalla in Morrilton, Arkansas. Hatchet throwing. That's pretty popular. I know that hatchet throwing is pretty popular here in the South of these United States. I've never done it. Well, no. That's a lie. That's a lie. Because I think I have done it on my own when I was a firefighter down in the Florida Keys. Take our little hatchets and throw them just for fun. But I've never been to a place where they put up targets and you throw hatchets at said targets. And there might be alcohol involved. There might be food involved, but there might be alcohol, which is kind of scary. Oh, well. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they don't throw any hatchets my way. All right, that's enough intro. Let's get into it with Travis Pickering. Oh, I got him on the Skype. So if you're listening to the audio version, check out the video version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/keysdan. Skyping Travis Pickering now. I think it sounds okay. You must be in a nice, quiet place.
I am. I've got an external mic plugged in as well, that Shure mic that goes for on the iPhone. So hopefully that'll make it a little more clear.
Well, all right. I'm looking for, my brother is doing TikTok videos. Maybe we could start there, Travis Pickering, and you let me know what kind of mic is that, because I like a good Shure mic. I'm using the Shure SM7B right here. What's that?
I love that mic. I've got that one for my studio. This one is the MV88. I believe it's called, but it's a Shure mic.
And it plugs right into your phone?
You bet. Plugs right into the charging port.
That's fantastic. Okay, that's good. I'll pass that on to my bro who's doing a lot of TikTok videos. Yeah, my 50-year-old brother doing TikTok, but not the dancing kind, not the kind where he shows off his booty and it shows off his dancing skills. He's talking about what we used to talk about when we were kids. We used to talk about World War II and the weapons that they used in World War II. Well, now that there's a war going on in Ukraine and Russia, he's talking about those weapons and the kind of stuff. So in that respect. But Travis Pickering, we're here to talk about you, man. Let's find out what's going on in the world of Travis Pickering, and give the listeners an idea. Who is a Travis Pickering?
Who is a Travis Pickering? It's a mystery. I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
Let's let that mystery unfold.
Just a regular dude that's living the dream of being a dad, having a full-time job, and balancing a music career.
That takes a lot, man. You're up there in Alberta, Calgary, Alberta, in Canada. as
You
it were.
got it.
And man, you're a family man, and that's tough when you're in the music business, especially if you want to go to a different level. You know, you're on a level right now. I perused all your YouTube videos, of which there are many and many different types of music. You're not stuck in one genre. You will go off to wherever your heart desires. You remind, well, I mean, are there any artists like that have inspired you to be like that?
You know, it's funny. Growing up, I was just exposed to so many different, just a large variety of music, anything from the, 60s, 70s, into anything modern. But I grew up on a lot of Matchbox 20, stuff like that, right? So anything Rob Thomas, I got a lot of Rob Thomas covers up there. But I touch on everything, right? Like there's some Meatloaf, Alanis Morissette, there's some country stuff. Like a good song's a good song, and I don't think that you should really, walk that line of just becoming one certain thing. And a good example of that actually is Luke Combs. Before he was Luke Combs, I remember I came across his stuff when I was learning some of the stuff that I was doing, and I believe he had his version of Fast Car on there. And I was like, man, and this is years ago, I was like, if anybody ever picks this guy up, he's going to be huge. And it was like 3 years later, debut song comes out, and I was like, oh my God, that's like Luke Combs. That's the guy I was telling everybody about. And, same thing. It's just throwing it out there.
Well, it looks like you're following the path that many have now that we have this thing called YouTube, this thing called interweb. It's easy to put your content out there and put your talents out in the forefront, out to the world. Justin Bieber did it. I think, what was it? Nicki Minaj did it. Before they were big, they were YouTube big. They became YouTube famous. And, you see all the hits, you see all the love that you're getting. People are listening to your covers. And then you have a few original videos as well. You've been working with I guess it's Tony Black, right?
Yeah, I'm friends with Tony here on Facebook. Another really great indie artist that I've been in contact with. We're both going to the International Singer-Songwriter Awards, coming up here in August, and that's gonna be really cool. So yeah, yep.
Well, tell me about that relationship, because Tony, man, he can't stay off my social media. He's on my Facebook feed constantly with song after song after song after song. Is this what you do? Do you write songs and sing songs, or are you a collaborator where you may have somebody else write a song and then sing that song, Travis?
Typically I write, my own material. And it's just been in the last few years that I've been co-writing with people. And actually, before I put out my radio single, She Gets Me, that went #1 at the end of last year, I was co-writing for some people. And those songs did pretty well in the Canadian indie side of things. So, but I'm very new to co-writing with a lot of other people. And it's a community, really. There's so many people out there wanting to write songs. And Tony's, he's just pumping out songs like he's got it, right? Like he just has a blast doing it. But he's on all the time. Prolific. He's sending links, and he's go, go, go.
Well, you're talking about that song, She Gets Me. I'm a wedding DJ, amongst other things. Weddings are my specialty. And I think you may have written the newest wedding song sensation song with She Gets Me. Even the video is very wedding oriented.
That's my wedding, yeah.
That's your wedding.
Yeah, that was my wedding.
So this song, I'm guessing, very personal to you.
Exactly. Yep. You want to write a song that most can relate to. You want to write a song that, comes from the heart, and there's no better way to do that than have one song that brings both of those together, right? So originally it was a song that I'd written for my fiance at the time. And it just made sense to give it a shot and put it out there. And I got in touch with a couple different producers. I was working with a producer in Nashville for a while, and we were going through songs, and I pitched him that one, and he hummed and hawed over it and said, I don't really know if it's going to be good enough for country radio, so maybe we should do one of mine. And I thought, respectfully, thank you so much. I've got a gut feeling on this one. I didn't burn a bridge. I just said, let's table this. I'm going to do my own thing for a little while. I just have a feeling about it. I reached out to another producer who's incredible. His name is Jason Barry. He's in Dean Brody's band, produces Dean Brody, has worked with everybody, and he loved the song, so he got behind it, and we got in the studio with this thing. He's amazing, and we put this thing out, and man, it just steamrolled. It was pretty incredible to watch.
Okay, now you're giving shout outs and turning me on to new things. Dean Brody, you have stumped the DJ, and then I went ahead and looked at Canadian country music star. That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, on our side of the border, man, he's where it's at. We have the Stampede here. I'm sure if you've heard of the Calgary Stampede. If not, it's a huge rodeo event. Goes on for 10 days, and Dean Brody and Jason, they just did the grandstand show every night throughout Stampede. But yeah, just awesome music.
Well, okay, let's go back to this video. Is that your actual wedding video that you have interlaced into that music video for "She Gets Me"?
It is. Yeah, we got married during COVID. And that's
why there's nobody at the first dance. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, so that's the incredible thing about that first dance is at the Banff Springs Hotel, which is this giant castle of a hotel that everybody stays at, right? Like you're wall-to-wall people there. It's like year-round. Because of COVID, I think there was like 75 people in the entire building, and you're never going to get that again. And so we actually got married at a location near that, but we were staying there. So when we got back to our hotel room, my parents and Brielle's parents were watching the kids. We ran down and got into the ballroom and just started to dance. We actually danced to no music because I was like, you know what? I just had this idea that we're going to dance to no music. I'm going to put this into my music video. And man, like it was an incredible moment just to be this giant castle ballroom, nobody around, dancing to no music, just her and I. And it was just like, when are you ever going to get that again?
Yeah, that was amazing. You were already planning your music video. This is what, all right, I grew up in the 80s when MTV was brand new, and artists just then started to have to not only have the audio, but also be thinking about how am I going to have this visualized for the TV? And you were already ready. I mean, hey, when I had my wedding video taken, I think we've seen it twice. You've made over, what is it, 2.8 thousand people watch this video, watch your wedding video. I think there was there was an underlying thing. You're making people watch your wedding video, like when they come over to the house and sit in your living room. Hey, we're gonna watch my wedding video. No, you don't have to do that. It's right out there on YouTube. That's fantastic.
It was my master plan all along.
You've immortalized yourself, your vows, your beautiful bride. That dress is amazing, and you didn't look too shabby either. You were quite handsome. Yes,
I tried to shave for it.
But no, definitely the making use of that footage it's a stroke of genius. Dare I say it? I think I just said it. But
I'll take it.
But Travis Pickering, man, you're creating content, you're putting stuff out there. I mean, tell me what a little the standard interview questions. What's a little Travis Pickering doing? And was that always in Calgary, Alberta? And were you always a music guy, or were you a hockey? I guess as a national sport. Were you into sports, or what were you doing as a little Travis?
Yeah, totally. I was when I was very young, I was in hockey until I think I was about 9 years old, and then my dad figured out I could throw a baseball harder than most kids at the time. My dad was a great baseball player, so he decided he's going to coach Little League and coach my sister and I. And actually, I played baseball until I was 18. I ended up being scouted to play American Legion baseball in Northern Idaho and Montana, and played there for a few years, and then had a knee injury that took me out. So I was like, kind of like, well, now what? Like, go to school, I guess. So I went to university, and while I was there, my roommate had a guitar that she never played, and it was starting to piss me off, actually. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn to play your guitar before you will. My dad was actually very musical as well, so I kind of had, like, I didn't play guitar before that, but I certainly was interested in music. Like, I sang in the shower, in the car, like anybody else did. Sang for my graduation sort of thing, but didn't play guitar. So anyways, I said, I'm going to play your guitar before you do. And we made a wager on it. I skipped class. I whatever I had to do to learn how to play guitar. And sure enough, I did. I picked it up and I was like, you know what? I'm hooked. So I came home for Christmas that year and I was like, Dad, I can play guitar. So he ended up actually buying me a guitar to play. And that's kind of what spawned everything. And then we started playing together as a duo, like father and son duo. We're kind of like the Judds, but we're the Buds.
Man, you often wonder as a parent how to get together and learn things. How to have family interactions and activities. It's nice to have that in your family, that you have some blood. But then, hey, well, I was going to ask, what did you finish university? Did you get a degree in anything, or you said you skipped a lot of classes?
I was young when I went to university. I didn't really know it. I wanted to go in for kinesiology. I wanted to be a PE teacher. And when I got there, I got stuck in all these courses that I just was not interested in. I got like my third electives that, were like agricultural studies and history of Western civilization, which is fine, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And I'm sitting there, I'm wasting money. And so I pulled the plug on it. I came home, went to work, got into music so much. And I actually put myself through, I got a degree in audio engineering. And that's kind of what, I just love recording music. I want to produce one day. But yeah, so I wasn't always into music, but I found that path, and man, it's just been the best thing. I loved baseball, and all good things, but with my music, I feel it's like the one thing that I really have control over. Whereas baseball is kind of like, you've got your time to shine, but I mean, all kinds of things can go wrong that aren't in your control, but music's in my control.
Well, Travis Pickering, it's definitely in your control, being an independent artist and being able to have the ability to say no to certain things. What was it? Taylor Swift and Prince and even, people that have gotten to that level have been bound by their record companies. Oh no, you have to sing 2 country songs on this album. Oh no, you have to sing 3 R&B songs on this album. Well, forget it. We own Prince. Well, forget it. I'm changing my name to that little symbol or what have you.
That's right.
And Taylor Swift says, "Oh, well, we own your masters." Well, guess what? I'm going to re-record my masters, and I own them now. So the ability to be able to say no you have a family, so it's hard to not have the day job. And I'm guessing, do you have a day job that's affording you the ability? Yeah.
I work full time at before and after school care. Teaching kids sports and music, and actually it's summer camp right now, so we're full out all summer long. And yeah, that's my full-time gig. When I first moved to Calgary 2 years ago, before the world went crazy, I came down here to play music full time, and I had a great start. I started building momentum, and then everything happened the way it did, and I just went back on education. So I do have a degree in child care education too, so that does help. But I love it so much. So I'm balancing everything right now.
Well, I do believe the children are our future, and that's commendable, man. I like a teacher, that's for sure. You do something wrong, they make you do it over again. And that's fantastic. That's right. Wrong, do it again. That's my best friend likes Pink Floyd, so I always heard that little line from Brick in the Wall. But that's awesome. That has got to be so rewarding being a teacher. And what are the ages of the little? Are they little kids?
Well, they're from ages 6 until 10.
That's fantastic. You get them before they have guns and knives. Although is that much of a problem up there? It seems like it's getting to be more and more.
Not as much as down there, I believe. I mean, there have been definitely some cases, but I don't think to the extreme that happens in the U.S. But we've got such a great group of kids. And the younger kids, they're just they're there for fun. They're learning everything. They don't, this is the time in their lives when they should be having fun. They don't have to fear anything like that. And there's some just really talented kids. I mean, athletic wise, but there's a kid actually, 2, but one of them that is so musically inclined. He brings his electric guitar and we sit down and we jam. We teach each other things because that kid is phenomenal. At 10 years old, he's doing he's a rocker too. Like he loves to do all the crazy tapping stuff, and he's into it's hilarious. So he teaches me about the rock stuff that he knows, and I teach him about country music, and there's more kids that are bringing guitars now. So we've got like a little guitar club.
Wait a minute, Travis Pickering, take that mask off. You're Jack Black in School of Rock, aren't you?
That's right. I've got stick it to the moniosis.
No, that's fantastic, man. That is when you're giving kids tools for their toolbox. Don't limit them. So many times kids are stifled. There's a Harry Chapin song called "Flowers Are Red," and when I first heard that, where the teacher said, "No, you can't paint those flowers any other color. They're red. You have to no." Flowers are red. They're not pink. They're not blue. They're not green. They're not multicolored. Flowers are red. And you stifle children with their creativity, but that's not how innovation happens. Don't stifle them, because their crazy ideas may turn into the iPhone, of the future, the new thing. So, I love that. I commend that.
That's exactly it. This is their time where they're creative. They go to school all day. They live in the confines of everything they're taught in school. But, they come to after school care and they get to have fun and play. And it's not like everything is just like specific and everything is, teacher oriented, right? Like, no, it's about them and what they want to do. And you find out what they're passionate about at their age. And you just nurture that, right? Like you have to.
So this is an after school program, maybe 3 o'clock until 6 p.m., something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then what kind of activities can they learn? They have music. You've already said that.
There's music, but we plan sport. Like I control the sports side of things, so we'll play floor hockey. We'll get some soccer going or some football if we have them. But they're different every year. There's such a different group of kids every year that come in, and some of them want to play sports and some of them don't. But they're really into floor hockey. Obviously, they're in the right country for it, and our team was in the playoffs for a little while there. So it's very exciting for them. So it's just really cool to hang out with them and play some sports and talk trash to each other.
Travis Pickering, I don't think I've gotten a straight answer on this. What's your country's obsession with hockey? What is this all about, man?
It started here, right? We've got a lot to be, not as much to be proud of as the U.S. has. We have hockey. We got to have something, right? And poutine. So
poutine. Yeah. I don't even know what poutine is. It's some kind of a food, right?
It's French fries, but you put gravy on it.
I like it.
You melt cheese on it.
I'm here in the South, okay? I'm from Miami, but I find myself in Arkansas, which is kind of the deep South, even though Miami, Florida is more southern on the longitude or the latitude line. But, I'm in Arkansas. We like gravy on everything. Put bacon on it. But, yes, I can see having gravy on your French fries. That's what poutine is?
It is, yep. And cheese curds on top of it. And you melt it, and man, I'm telling you, it's good.
You're making the fat man's mouth water. Nom, nom. Okay, I see you're a guy that you're in some kind of a shape. Are you, because I noticed a difference between now and the wedding video. What did you do to get yourself in shape, man?
I don't know, man. It's hit or miss, right? Like, I'm active with the kids now more than I was, during COVID. But it's just mostly everything's just natural. And I was an athlete growing up, right? Like, so there's, as much as there's a lot of extra meat on these bones, there's still a lot of muscle memory going on there. So I'd like to be in better shape, obviously. But hey, man, I like my food.
Oh no, I understand completely. I come from a family of half Cuban, half Irish. I think the Cuban side got the metabolism on me. I look at my mom and even my grandparents and a lot of my family members. But the only thing that tore it off of me was running. What do you recommend? You being a man who's very into sports and athletics and training people, do you recommend the weights, or is it, man, my mom just gave me a whole speech on this. It's diet. It's all diet,
man. It's a lot of diet for sure. Water intake is huge, which I'm learning. Like, you need to drink more water than Jack Daniels is important, apparently. But I've actually been in and out of this keto diet thing that's been going around. I don't know if you've heard much about that. And that's just it. Like, you can lose I lose 10 pounds in the first week of water weight, and then it just melts off after that. But it is very much diet. There's only so much I can do physically anymore because, like, my knee's not the greatest. Like, I actually just had bicep tendon surgery a few months ago. I ripped the bicep tendon right off my bone.
How you do
lifting
that?
the table for my wife. Like, yeah, just crazy. Like, right. There's never a dull moment in my life. You know, my wife's like, oh, let's buy this behemoth table that's like, I don't know, 8 feet long. And so I was getting off the back of the truck. Everything was going great. And I was kind of lifting like you lift drywall, right? And I didn't like how low it was on my shoulder. So I'm just kind of going to shrug it up on my shoulder. And I bicep curled this almost 300-pound table. And I just felt this pop. And my bicep recoiled up into my shoulder. And I'm like, oh, man, this isn't right. So I gently put the table down. And we ended up having to, like, 3 of us bring this table in and ended up going to the doctor 3 weeks later. And they're like, yeah, this is a problem. You're going to need surgery. So did that whole song and dance.
Well, it's a good thing you have that Canadian health care where they paid a lot of it. A lot of us climbing over the border just to get those good pills and that good health care. You got to stop us refugees or illegals from coming over the border.
We got to build a wall over here. I'm telling you.
What is with that guy, man?
You guys have one extreme to the next on your side, man.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I can't even, like, oh no, I couldn't even get into it on our side either.
Oh, it's a pendulum, man, and it's been that way ever since I became aware of politics or government or stuff like that. Eventually, it goes Democrat, and then it swings all the way that way. They spend all their money that we don't have, and then it goes Republican, and they take all our money that we don't have. So it keeps
everybody's
swinging.
trying to fix everybody else's mess, and everybody's getting blamed for it.
Yeah.
And you got Trump who's ready to build the wall and push the button on any given moment. You got Biden who apparently can't ride a bicycle.
Well, the build the wall thing. He wanted to die on that hill. He could have done so much, man. Instead of don't build a wall, they can dig underneath it. There's planes that fly over it. Come on, man. Don't die on that hill. There's other things you could be doing. And he was doing. He was trying. But oh my goodness, our system is just weird. This democracy thing, it's a good experiment. I hope I hope it succeeds one day, maybe. But Canada. I mean, tell me about how things run up there. The healthcare. All right, we think it's free, but it's not free, right? It's taxed. It's in a socialized economy. You pay more taxes, but you get more benefits, right?
I'm telling you this. So we've got a prime minister out here, right? Our El Presidento up here. And, he is just taxing the crap out of everything right now, right? So, yeah, I mean, up front, it seems like a really good thing, like with healthcare and benefits. But really, it's coming out of your pocket on the other end of things. So, I mean, does it, balance out in a way? It's
I think I'm somewhere in the middle with everybody else. I don't want free healthcare. I want affordable. I don't want free school. I want affordable. Like my grandpa, he went to school. He had a part-time job. By the time he gets out of school, the school's paid for. It's done. And then as soon as I guess it was our Green New Deal. Tell you what, the government's going to subsidize your school for you. And then the schools went, oh, government's going to pay for it? Well, we're going to raise our prices.
Yeah.
We're going to raise our prices. And that's what it just went downhill from there. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. But we could talk about things that are bad, that are going bad, and we could talk about things that are going good, man. I just try to take care of my family, myself, my family, my neighborhood, and then, concentric circles from there as I can get people, help people out in my community, in my city, my state, and further out from there, if I'm able. And if you're able, hey, help other people out. But you help people.
I think that's with music, and what I offer at my shows is like, hey, come to my show, forget about all that crap for a little while, listen to music, be a music fan, and just forget about the grind for just, 2-3 hours, get away from the internet, get away from the fake news and everything else, and just have a good time. And it's so good that we're getting back to that here, and things have opened up. I played more in the last few weeks here than I've played in a long time, especially with Stampede going on. Like, we had Blake Shelton out here. He was performing 2 nights ago at the arena. Like, it was just, it's huge here. And so, I mean, a lot of companies are great about having their corporate stampede breakfasts and everything else. So I was busy like every day last week, and it was nice. It was nice to feel normal again.
Well, don't let it be lost on me, because I'm sure it's not lost on anybody else. Travis Pickering just put us right back on the rails talking about music, which is great. And you had Blake Shelton up there. Was Gwen Stefani there?
Yeah, she was. She came out and surprised everybody with a couple songs. I wasn't at the concert. I saw some video footage of it and had some friends that went. But yeah, they came out and surprised everybody, but put on a hell of a show from what I heard.
Oh, I've been a fan since No Doubt, for sure. No Doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she came out and did Don't Speak and something else. But pretty awesome.
Going back to the beginning, you know, when she came out with that song, it was like, what is this? What is going on here? Something new.
Yeah.
And it really is. But, you know, how many songs have you written? Because I didn't count the originals. I see, man, you got content after content after content. If people want to spend their whole day, maybe even a whole week listening to your music, your sweet, sweet voice, did you take any lessons with your voice, or is this something that you developed on your own?
No, just a lot of on my own, right? Like I said, when I started out playing music and singing, I was singing a lot to Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20. We have a very similar range, right? So I just started like karaokeing basically, and just fell in love with it and thought, like I started playing guitar because I didn't want to ask people to back me up every time. And then it just kind of molded, right? Like I do a lot of covers, but I try to put my own spin on it, right? I don't try to be that person when I do it. I find what works for me and have fun with it. But, I have more covers out there than I have original material. I'm working on that. Like I said, I've done some co-writing for other people. So now it's, really my time to focus on what I'm doing, who I am as an artist, my brand. And so I've got maybe 10 to 15 original songs that I do at my shows that are ready to go. And I've got a bunch that I've written with my dad. My latest one that's out right now at Country Radio and is doing well internationally is called Fallen. And that one's with a co-write with my dad. And we're excited to have that one out there as a father and son duo. It's under my name. So if you look up Travis Pickering Fallen, you're going to hear that one. And man, it's just a fun song. It's just a summer beer drinking tune.
I'm playing a little bit of it in the background there.
Right back where I wanted to. Well, it might just be the sunshine and the beat.
Ooh, it's nice, man. It's nice. And you wrote that all by yourself. Now, do you come?
The two of us wrote that one.
Who was that?
And that was oh my gosh, writing with my dad is hilarious.
Oh, with your dad?
Yeah.
Larry.
So my dad, Larry. Yep.
Oh my goodness. So has he always been a songwriter as well, or you said you had some musical interest?
Forever, like up until my sister and I were born, like he would gig full time with his band. Was pretty successful at it, and then when we came along, the family man thing, really digging deep into the family man thing, and he kind of backed away from it for a little while until I started playing, and then it just when I said actually we got booked to play a show in a out east in Nova Scotia for opening for Blue Rodeo and Jimmy Rankin, and they're big up here. And so we just started the duo to go down there and play. The actual festival got canceled a day before we're getting on the plane. So we were just like, you know what, let's just keep this going. And we became the Pickups. Our last name is Pickering. I was like, let's be the Pickups. And so we've done that for like the last 8 or 9 years. And we've just had a blast. We travel around together, play these shows. And so now it was just like, you know what, it just makes sense to follow up my song with a pickup song. So it's really cool to be out there.
Man, that's a good family activity. Once again, bringing families together any way you can. And here you are playing guitar together. The name Pickering, that it just lends itself to playing guitar, picking Pickerings, the pickup Pickerings. Yeah.
There's a style of playing guitar called Travis Picking. It's a style of picking, like, right? Like, so people are always asking me, like, is that on purpose? I'm like, no, man. Like, my last name is Pickering. There's actually a place in another province in Ontario called Pickering, Ontario. So everybody's like, is it because you're from Ontario? It's like, no, like, my last name is Pickering. That's it.
Well, they did the same thing to Conway Twitty. Is it Conway, Texas, and Twitty, Texas, or is it Conway, Arkansas, which is where I'm at, or and Twitty, Texas, or is it or is it because of the Tweety birds? Something to do with that. But that is your actual God-given name.
It is.
That's fantastic, man. It's a good country name for that matter, but you're not, like we said in the beginning, or like I said in the beginning, you don't hold yourself to a box, to one genre. You'll sing what you want to sing. You're an independent artist, as it were. I mean, are you open to getting signed with a record company, or have you been?
I actually just signed with a local independent label called Peach Jam Records. So I signed a single release deal with them for the fall. I've got a song coming out that I wrote. It's called Hank Made Country Music. And basically it's about kind of this divide that's been happening for a lot of years here with country music. You got the new country, you got the old country, and it's hard to be in between and try to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And so with Hank Made Country Music, I'm paying tribute to Hank Sr. and just saying, this is the kind of music that I grew up on. God made Hank, and Hank made country music is the line. So,
but back then it wasn't genres. It was good music is good music.
That's right.
Hank Sr. Crossed the lines. He died way too soon at 30. My goodness, but he lived hard. And unfortunately, there'll never be a live version of him and his son playing. But I remember there was a time when the Offspring was singing with their dead parents. I think Lisa Marie did it with Elvis.
Yeah, you're right.
And then Natalie Cole did it with Nat King Cole. It was kind of strange. That was a thing that was going on in the 90s. I don't know if they were the only two.
You know what? Hank Jr. did something similar with Tear in My Beer. If you look up the video Tear in My Beer, he opens the door and his dad is singing it in the doorway. And I believe I remember seeing something, but I think he did it as well.
Fantastic. But it was a thing that was going on back then. And
it's cool. It's eerie. Like, I don't know if I could do that if it were me. Like, I mean, oh God, I can't even think about, down the road when that, time comes. But I mean, it's another bridge you got to cross. But can you imagine, what you must be feeling when you're singing a song like that, or Hank singing his dad's songs, or, it's crazy.
Well, now with technology, you could technically live forever. They might put your AI conscience into another being. This is what we're heading for. This is what Elon Musk and others are talking about. They've had Tupac on stage pretty recently, where he was a hologram and he was
I've seen that. That's crazy.
It's crazy. But holograms were always a thing. I went to Disney World and when I was a kid back in the 80s, and they had the ghosts that would be in the haunted mansion. And and that was like the early days of that. But this is like on a whole nother level. Could you see yourself? Through your music, you're already going to live forever. You got this stuff. It's out there. It's in digital form. Maybe there's a CD or two out there. Maybe there's a vinyl album. Maybe an 8-track tape. I don't know. Probably
I've got
not.
a vinyl out right now, actually, with my single on it. I won a contest actually through a record company. They held a contest. You send your music in, and I actually forgot that I even entered it. And so I get this email like months later, congratulations, you've won Record Store Day Canada's contest. And I was like, is this a scam? Like, it kind of seemed vague. So I'm going through it, and I responded with like just trying to fish back and be like, it's like, yeah, cool, that's sweet, yeah, shoot me the details. And then they sent it all back and everything. I was like, oh my God, like this totally is something I entered. And so they sent me what was it, I think 200 vinyls with She Gets Me on it. So I got to design it with their company, and I don't even know if I have one around here somewhere.
That is amazing.
But yeah, so I won this. So they sent me these vinyls. So I've been giving them out as, coasters or wall art or whatever. I sold a bunch of them and a bunch of giveaways online. And man, like, just really neat to happen to have my song on a vinyl, because it sounds fantastic. Like, I'm a huge fan of vinyl in comparison to anything else, because you hear so much more in it. And I did, and I was like, man, like, that's the way you want to hear a song.
Now your understanding of the things that the people my age that have gone through from analog to digital, what we contend with, in the 80s when CDs first came out, And there were radio stations, classic rock stations. We're going all digital, all CD, and it just didn't. No more pops and clicks. But I liked the pops and clicks, man.
Yeah.
And the music started to get compressed. I think it was at 192 back then. And now, if you're doing strictly MP3s, it might be 128, even more compressed, where you're missing out on all those great, those nuances with those different instruments that are out there. Oh, that guy had didn't you hear the triangle in that one? Didn't you hear the tom-tom in that one? No, I didn't. It was all compressed.
Yeah. Oh. And the thing is, right, you've got this sound. You can't see it. I got to go on this side. This much sound, but you got to fit it into an iPhone, right? And that's the problem, right? Everybody's listening to the stuff on the iPhone, so everything the guidelines have changed, the parameters have changed, just so it sounds good out of the smartphone, and that's the problem. Like, when you put we have the new Bluetooth record player, but man, it's like the things you hear on it. Like, even like when I was listening to it on just through my phone because my producer sent it to me, when I heard it on vinyl, I was like, oh my God, that's the stuff that he was doing on this and the instrumentation on it is like, man, it's phenomenal. So yeah, you miss a lot when it's coming out of a WAV file or an MP3.
Sadly, even though, I'm a DJ, I've been doing this since 86, 99, I gave up my techniques. I stopped playing records because it was just so much easier to carry a hard drive full of songs.
Yeah.
And, this way I could be more versatile. I wasn't stuck to just, that creative music, that's all you're going to get to hear today.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you're hearing. Now it's limitless. It's unlimited what I can play. But I think that, I buy the good speakers, so the sound that does come out is full. You make sure you have the good equipment. You already said you have the SMB, the staple since Michael Jackson sang on Thriller. Using that. Before that, it was the EV. The EV20 was the standard. For audio, for broadcast, and what have you. But you have to have the good equipment to get the good sound. But and filmmakers have been having this problem too. We've been making these films that are, they're so big and they're so huge, and people watch them on their phone.
Yeah.
We made this.
It's heartbreaking.
It is. It has to be for a creator like yourself that you're making this music. Are you recording analog? Are you recording digital? Have you had the pleasure of recording on tape, or is it all digital?
I haven't yet. Everything's been basically digital. My producer, he's got everything at, his fingertips, so he can do everything analog or digital. But I think mostly nowadays it's very much digital. I'd love to get into like Sun Studio and really like Matchbox 20 did an album in Sun Studio, and man, like, wouldn't that be something to use some of that same equipment, right? Like,
I'm an Elvis fan, and I took the tour of Sun Studios. They kind of kept it pretty much the same way that it was back in the 60s, I guess it had to be in the 60s when Elvis was there, and quite a few others. I mean,
end of the 50s, very early 60s.
Okay. Well, I mean, I had at the end of the tour, they let you take a picture with a microphone. There were ladies licking the microphone because it might have had a molecule of the king of rock and roll on it.
No, it just has the next lady who licked it before you.
But it was but I did get a picture with that microphone.
We my dad and I and my family, we made the trip when I was like 17, and we're doing the tour. And so I kind of broke off from the tour at one point, and they're on the one side of the room, and I'm over on the other side of the room, and I'm looking at pictures, and I'm standing there, and I start getting like goosebumps, right? Like, I'm just like, wow, like something, like you just know when you're standing there, something big happened in this room. And so as the tour guide's doing his thing, he comes over and he says, where this young man is standing right there is the only place where Elvis preferred to stand and sing. And I'm looking down, he's like, I'm standing on the X, and I didn't even know it. But yeah, it was something else. Like, to be there, you're like, it's like the Mecca, right, for Elvis fans. And
I think more
did the whole Graceland tour.
I think more and more every day, I believe in energy and the exchange of energies, and that we're all connected, one cosmic thread. I know it sounds hippie. I know it sounds hoodly poodly and all that. But we are connected. When you get on a stage that's been performed by, so many different artists have been on this stage. Oh, B.B. King was here on that stage. Oh, Carl Perkins was on that stage. Oh, all these greats, the actual people singing do 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 do. We're on that stage, and when you get on that stage, do you feel it? Do you feel it?
And absolutely. And I think some people are more in tune with it than other people, but I'm the same way. Like, I got to stand somewhere where something happened and just feel it, because I mean, if you're like me, you've probably researched this stuff on your phone, and you've seen everybody stand there, the ins and outs of the place before you even get there. Like, for me, like, a dream of mine is to go to the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa, because that's where Buddy Holly played his last show. And that's where he did the famous coin toss in the back room. And just stand there and just know, like, that was his last place where anybody ever heard his last words and heard his last music, and Richie Valens, the Big Bopper, and just that whole story of the coin toss, and like, it all happened there, and it's all kept basically the same that it was back then. And go to the crash sites, and like, when I was in Memphis, we went to the hotel where Martin Luther King was shot down, and like, just standing on these places and being like, this is where history happened, and standing in these places where I'm a world away from all this, and I can remember where I was when some of the stuff like that's happened recently has happened, but not so much, of course, back in those times. But man, like, that's what I love to do. I love to go places and travel and be in that spot and just really feel what happened.
I think when I was a kid, well, I definitely, I'm with you on that. I like traveling. I like finding out more about people, the historical figures. We're standing on the shoulders of giants. I've heard that my whole life, and I fully believe it. But one of my favorite plaques that I ever found was, on this date in history, on this spot, nothing happened. I thought that was the most hilarious plaque. But no, I do like going to places that have those vibes. You said you moved to Alberta just to be in the thick of it all, have a bigger city behind you. Is Alberta bigger than where you grew up?
Way bigger. Yeah, I'm from a town of about, depending on the season, about 7,000 people at the high peak of things. Like 2 stoplights, basically. It's pretty small, and it's a great place to grow up. But like any place, it's got only so much opportunity, and we played the whole area to death, right? Like, and it's great, and everybody just really nurtured me coming out of the gate. But like I said, there's only so much that you can do for so long, spinning your tires, doing the same thing, and I just always want more. And so my wife is actually from here originally, and so when she was on her maternity leave with our firstborn, she stayed out in Golden for that year, and we decided, you know what, look, let's throw our cards on the table. Let's go to the city. She'll go back to work, and I'll do my music full time, and things are great. And then, of course, COVID. But so now I've got a full-time job and the music career, but it's been just an amazing move. And having that song come out, like, that song has done more for me in the past year and a half than most of what I've done career-wise to this point.
Oh, that's fantastic that you have the accolades. I'm a city mouse, and my wife is a country mouse. So guess where we live? In the country.
Hey, I do miss it. My grandparents unfortunately just sold their farm. They're getting older, but I grew up working on my grandparents' farm every summer when I wasn't playing baseball, or it just I have huge ties to being out in the country, but at the same time, like, I never pictured myself as being a city person, like driving on the main roads here where it's just chaos. When I come from a 2-lane road, it's been a bit of a culture shock that way, but you adapt to it, and I love it here now.
Well, we just made the trek out from the city. Conway's a kind of a bigger city, maybe 50,000 people or so, and we moved to a place that has 500, and we have a little bit of land. We got some plans. Things are just so expensive right now. My goodness, wood and materials to build things. It's incredible, man. Has the inflation started to touch you guys up there?
Man, it's crazy. Gas is out of control. The lumber market went crazy. I think it's starting to come down a little bit, but Man, yeah, wage sure hasn't come up to match inflation at all, which is really sad. But yeah, I've never seen gas prices so high in Canada in my entire life. So yeah, it's tough.
It's weird, and I Google things and I try to, match up, because I'll see it on my Twitter feed that a barrel of oil is only $3 more than it was back in 2014, and yet the gas prices are $2 and $3 more than it was in 2014. And then I look for myself and I go, well, yeah, it was $1. It was $103 in 2014. It's $106 now. That's $3, and you can get 19 gallons of gas out of a barrel. I don't know, man. It's just it's getting harder and harder. I hope this comes down. The pendulum, once again, the pendulum that swang that way, it needs to swing the other way.
Eventually, something's got to give, right? Like when I moved here, I mean, you guys are by the gallon there, I believe, but we are by the liter here. And so basically, when I moved to Calgary, which produces a lot of the oil for Canada and sends to the US and all over the place. When I moved here, it was like, what was it? 70 something cents a liter.
Okay.
And I could fill my car for like $40. And I was like, man, this is amazing. This is incredible. And now the same car costs over $100 to fill.
Yeah. And you're
It's just ridiculous.
You're living in the equivalent of Texas, where they have all the oil wells, and that's the source here in the United States. And you're saying around Alberta is the same thing. There's lots of oil wells, and
we should be able to sustain ourselves for the long run, but it's not the case. I mean, we're supplying everywhere else, and we're feeling the pinch as well. I mean, a lot of it is being blamed on the war and what's going on over there, but I just don't know, like, when that pendulum comes back. I don't know if it's ever going to go back to what it was previously, but I mean, it never really seems to. It always seems to kind of come down, but it's still at that, high end of the the low spectrum.
I try to stay away from the news. I bury my head in the sand sometimes, but I know I do watch those news breaks, and I think I got my headset stuck here, but that's okay. I bury my head in the sand a little bit. My wife, she likes to watch the news, and she keeps me up to date. But, I have trouble sifting through the lies to get to the truth. There's a lot of lies out there. And you have everything you see, everything you do, every experience you have, it becomes a muse for you. You could turn it into a song. And yes, those same songs that make people forget about the world. But, folk singers back in the 60s were singing about the world, what was going on. I mean, where do you find your inspiration for some of the songs that you do? I know you've been inspired by your lovely wife. That's easy enough, but other songs that you've done, what inspires you?
In my music, I stay right out of politics completely. Because I think everybody is just so tired of it at this stage in the game. And a lot of it, like, there's a lot of career suicide that can happen when you get too involved. And we've seen it in the past happen with bigger artists that have touched base on some things that maybe, could have been left out or whatever. Everybody wants to be patriotic in some way. But for me, I keep it out. I write and I sing what I know and only what I know. And I keep it simple. So it's pretty straightforward for me. And I just draw inspiration from what I live. I mean, I've had some heartbreak for sure. Been through a divorce. I've had some hardships before, so I can touch base on some of that stuff. But I'm starting now to kind of reach out into kind of the storytelling stuff and about the what ifs. I just wrote a song actually just recently called "Hangover Song," which yes, I've experienced a few times. But it's just a story about this kind of drunken, crazy odyssey through Mexico. But I didn't personally experience it, but I've got enough friends around me who've experienced a lot of this stuff and drawing from their experience and writing from it. But I very much just have to write what I know.
Well, you've learned more water.
More water. More water, less Jack Daniels.
Less Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Thankfully I've never touched the stuff.
I love it.
I had a half a beer one time and I passed out. So that was just after my 21st birthday. I realized I'm a lightweight. So I have a lot of family members that like to imbibe. And being, working in the clubs, you get to see it. So as a social experiment, as a viewer of people, you see them walk in, hey, here we are, ready to have some fun. And then 4 hours later, here we are, after we had some fun. But no, man, what kind of gigs are you, when did you start playing out? Because a man and his guitar is a powerful thing. Once again, you getting on a microphone with your guitar and saying, do, 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 do. You are changing minds. You're changing feelings. People that drag themselves out of their houses after a long week of work, Travis Pickering, you're going to sing to them. You're going to change their minds, change their attitudes. What's your playlist look like? You have your 15 original songs, and then you have your cover songs that you kind of hook them with the cover songs, and you say, hey, you want me to play one of my own? And of course they're going to go, yeah. Well, how does that feel?
That's the name of the game. You got to incorporate everything. But for me, what you see on YouTube and the social media and stuff with all those variety of different songs, it's the same thing at a live show. I'm not up there necessarily for me. I'm up there just to give them what I think they want. And so reading the crowd for me is probably 80% of the entire gig. So I'll look at the crowd before I get there, and I'll see if the younger and the just the different demographic of people, right? The age demographic, and I'll just think, okay, well, I know these guys are gonna like some 90s stuff, or I know these guys are gonna like something out of the last 5-10 years kind of thing. So I'll usually hit them with I got some Eddie Vedder that I love to do, some like Pearl Jam stuff. Matchbox 20 is huge. Got to throw that in there. And then I'll throw some Hank Williams at them just to see what everybody's listening to in the room. Because if I'm playing some Garth Brooks and I see that there's a table in the back that just went nuts for Garth Brooks, I've got them in my back pocket for later. And I'll look up on the balcony, I'll say, well, these guys just went crazy over all my 90s stuff. So I've got them for later. And I just have such an array of music, and I never go by a certain set list. Like I never use a set list. I've just got 100 to 150 songs in the back of my mind that I can just access when I need to access it. And every gig is different. I mean, sometimes you go in thinking it's going to be a country show, and all of a sudden they start responding to like the Three Doors Down, the Radiohead and Eddie Vedder and stuff like that. And it's like, well, that's great because I've got some of that too, because I've been to so many shows where you get there and it's the same boom, chugga boom, chugga boom, chugga boom all night. And like, it's great for a little while. I can't sit there and listen to the same thing all night. I want somebody to just surprise me. I want to keep them on the edge of their seat, because I'll pull out some Johnny Cash and I'll do a medley of Johnny Cash and Elvis. And the next song I'll do Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper, the way I do it. And it's that shock factor, right? Like people you can see it in their eyes, like, why do I know this song? And by the time you hit them with the chorus with Time After Time, they're just like, oh my God, I'm singing along to Cyndi Lauper, right? You don't expect this, 260 pound, 6'2" dude singing Cyndi Lauper tunes to you, but a good song's a good song. And I'm just up there for the wow factor too. Like, I don't know what the next song is, so they don't either.
Well, Time After Time is one of my favorite stalker songs, along with Every Breath You Take. And it's one of my go-to karaoke songs. For some reason, I sing it with an English accent, time after time. But when, you were talking about different styles, doing Eddie Vedder and doing Hank Williams and doing, all these different styles. Do you change your voice? Do you find yourself going, along restless breakfast table in another box? Do you change your voice and sound alike?
I love the Southern accent, but I'm very much about being yourself. Like I can't, and that's what I've been saying to, like, there's a lot of Canadian artists out there, and power to them. I'm not going to talk down them, but a lot of them put on that Southern drawl, and a lot of them have more thick of a Southern drawl than most of the people from the South when they're singing. And my thing is like, I don't speak with a Southern drawl, so why would I, sorry, I've got a glitch there, but why would I sing with one, right? So everything that comes out is just very much my own style, my own voice. it has to be believable. Like, you know, I don't understand it. I don't understand putting the fake drawl on it if you don't have it.
Well, no, you mentioned that you did karaoke shows before. You used to sing, when you were getting I guess you were actually improving your voice by singing over and over and over. That's the only way to do it, right? Is just keep doing it and keep developing your voice. But when people hear a Cyndi Lauper cover by Travis Pickering, it's going to be a Travis Pickering song. It's going to be your voice doing that Cyndi Lauper, which is fantastic. I would love to hear it. You know, Stand By Your Man. Ever since the Blues Brothers did it back in '80, I mean, I was like, oh, that is fantastic. Yes, the gender bending songs. It's fun to go up
totally
as a big dude, 6 foot tall, and then time after time. You know, I mean,
it all depends. Like, I change it into the right key, right? Like, I transpose everything, so I'm not singing up in her original key or anything. So it's not a challenge that way. And luckily, I'm able to transpose songs to make it and put them into my range, basically. But there's a lot of stuff that I do. Like, I do "The House That Built Me" by Miranda Lambert. I do, and I think that one's probably on YouTube or Instagram. I do "Traveling Soldier" by the Dixie Chicks. I do "Landslide" by Stevie Nicks. And I just, like, anything goes. If I like the song, I'm going to find out how to play it in my range and my style. And I'm just going to put it out there because, I mean, it just comes easy to me, I guess, in that way.
Hit after hit. Poker Face by Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I think I have that one up there, actually.
It's up there. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at your list of tricks, and my goodness.
That one actually came out of a very drunken night. I don't even know. Somebody asked me to play it, and I wung it, and that's what came out. And I was like, I gotta try to recapture this.
Well, that's the downfall of being, or I'm guessing you're primarily solo guitar. When you go to a club, when you go to a place, you're sitting up there with your guitar, and people are feeding you drinks. Here, have a shot, Travis Pickering. Here, have a beer, Travis Pickering. Here, have another drink, Travis. By the end of the night, you could be quite tipsy. And I've seen it happen. I was working with a comedian named Brian Kearns years ago, and they kept feeding him shots. And he goes, "I don't drink all that much. Don't do that." He had probably close to 20 shots by the end, and he was slurring. He couldn't do his routine. I mean, has that ever happened to you?
No, actually, my wife always gets mad at me because, like, I never get hungover. The more I drink, the more fun I have, and the more, like, I just let loose and just sing. And it's funny because I think when you're on stage, like, you're sweating it out. Like, it's more sobering than if you're just sitting around a campfire drinking like crazy, not moving. I think it really hits you harder. But when you're up there doing your thing, like, I don't know. She's like, "You're an anomaly. I don't understand it. You don't get hungover. You just get you get better with your vocals." Like, I don't know. Luckily I haven't. And there's been some messy nights, but nothing on stage, thankfully. So nothing to be too embarrassed about.
Well, you heard it here, listeners, okay? When you go to a Travis Pickering show, you get him a bottle of Jack, and you make him funnel it down by the end of the show and see if his voice just gets coated, and it sings that much better. It's like honey. It's like lemon and honey. It just
comes out like kerosene after a while.
Hey, do you sing Kerosene? That's a karaoke song.
Actually, I should do that one. Actually, I was thinking more of the Poncho and Lefty.
That's fantastic.
Voice as hard as kerosene.
All right, my man. Well, I mean, shoot, I've taken some of your time. We've talked. We've shot the breeze a little bit. When people find you online, do you have a website? I didn't find a website.
I do. So it's actually not a .com. It's the poor man's version of a website. But if you go to Travis Pickering at Wix.com, Wix.com, you'll find kind of what I've been up to there. It needs to be updated, but it's got my links to all my social media. Travis Pickering Music, everywhere you go. Just Google Travis Pickering. Something's bound to come up. You might get an anthropologist or a boxer or something that comes up along with my name, because when you Google yourself, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Well, he's not so conceited to where he Googles himself all the time. But no, I found your website. I'll put that in the show notes for sure. Found it actually from your Instagram. Your Instagram has your website right on it, and lots of good pictures, lots of good places. I see where you're going to go into the ISSA. Very people that are into that are very proud of that, and that's fantastic. That's great that you get rewarded. It's nice to put these songs out to the world, but ultimately you want to put them out there because you have to, because they're inside you, and they have to get out. But when somebody says, "Hey, I like that song. It changed my world. It changed my life. It changed my feeling. I was feeling down, and I heard a Travis Pickering song, and it made my life better."
More than any award that you can be nominated for any award show, and this is like my first one. I actually got nominated for the Josie Music Awards that are happening at the Grand Ole Opry House in October. I can't make it to that one. But this is my first year of being invited to all this kind of stuff and being nominated, because before that, I didn't have anything else on country radio. Like I said, She Gets Me was my radio debut. But more importantly than anything else, it's after a show when somebody comes up and says, "Man, like that song resonated with me. Like that became my wife and my song," or it's just, those are what you really draw off of more than anything else in the world, that you connected with somebody out there understood what you were going through. And they don't have to come up and say good job to you after a show or anything. They don't, what's it to them? They may never see you again. But when they come up to you and say, "Hey man, like good show, good job," that resonates with me more than anything else that I do. So it's really connecting with people is why I do what I do.
Well, I mean, you got the tools in your toolbox. You went and studied audio engineering. You can record your own stuff if you need to. This great internet thing that we got going. I know what is it? Tony Black is down there, and Donnie Hammonds. They work across the web. They hardly ever even. I feel like nobody even goes and sees each other anymore, or they don't have to. Where you can record.
I don't even know if Tony sleeps.
You know what? Yeah, it's possible he doesn't. But Travis, I want you to give shout outs to people that have helped you along the way as we wind this thing down. And, definitely talk about the recording studio that you were talking about that helps you record things, and anybody else that has helped you along the way. And then we'll get up out of here.
Hey, absolutely. Because, nothing happens without your team of your supporters. Obviously, my wife, my family, parents, my hometown, obviously, Golden, BC, Canada. That's my start. Everybody in my corner that's been helping me get the songs out to country radio, like Pinky, my radio track here in Canada, Kaylee from Catavello Entertainment, Ed Carter in the States that pushed my song and got me on Music Row. Jason Berry for producing the hell out of this song, because without him, the song didn't have the wings to do that. And just, just the listeners, DJs, country radio for playing the song, because, it doesn't get heard unless these people are playing it. You guys are awesome. And, just also to all the naysayers that said maybe this song wasn't going to do anything, that's just the same momentum that you need to move forward, right? You got to, if you're stifled by something like this, you're going to spin your tires. You're going to go nowhere. So you got to, keep moving on and keep your head up and do your thing.
That's a one thing you can tell a little kid, a teenager, some of the kids that you are teaching. You can't do that. Watch me.
That's it. That's exactly it. I don't know what motivates me more. If sometimes it's anger that motivates me more than anything, or somebody doubting me. It's like, you just watch me, what I'll do. And that's the same thing that I tell them. Nothing happens if you stand still. If you don't take a shot, nothing happens. And that's a guarantee. And you know what? I always tell them that you trust your gut more than anything. Your head and your heart can be fooled. You trust your gut and don't stop.
So many people, they've been mad scientists. Let's hammer that thing to that thing. Oh, they can't go together. Don't do it. You can't hammer those things together. Watch me. Bang. Genius.
Yeah.
Innovation.
The Wright brothers, actually, I just read about the Wright brothers when they were inventing flight, basically. A newspaper had come up with an article saying that flight will not happen for humans for 10 million years. And they did it within the year.
Watch me.
That right there. If that doesn't tell you what going against all the doubters can do, then I don't know what can. So.
Oh yeah, they were the Elon Musk of their time, and crazy Elon Musk. Whatever comes out of his brain, make it happen. Make it happen.
Yeah.
I want to go to the moon.
I want Elon Musk to buy country music.
He bought Twitter.
Everybody's like, "Oh, make America great again, make Canada greater again." And I'm just here like, hey man, like make country music country again.
I mean, well, okay, all right. That's well, that we can touch on that. Is country country, or is Hank Williams Sr. country and Marty Robbins and the old guys, Glenn Campbell? Is that country, or is the
it
new
all
stuff?
depends on what you grew up on, right?
Yeah.
And I grew up on that beautiful, beautiful time where it was like, the 80s and 90s were happening. And then, the 2000s were getting kind of okay. And then after 2010 got really weird. And then Florida Georgia Line. And then like after that, it was like, what are we doing here? And so like, if you're asking me what country music is, it's pretty much anything from like 2004 and before that. Because that's like my jam in there. And like after that, man, like I'm so confused anymore. If I'm turning on the radio and if the first line is, "Hey girl," I'm like, no. And so that's where and I have a hard time like keeping my mouth shut about it. But my new song that's coming out in the fall called Hank Made Country Music basically touches base on it. And I don't know if country radio is going to hate me or love me because it's a bit tongue in cheek. But if I don't say what I have to say, then I'll never say it, and it'll just eat me alive.
Well, just say, "Hey, girl, want to see my truck?"
Oh,
No. And look,
that's it.
As a DJ, I have to play it all, and I dig it all. I like it all. I come from the '80s, and yes, whatever we grew up with, whatever year you graduated high school, that's probably the music you're going to love for the rest of your life. So there's kids right now graduating high school, and they're going to say, that with the truck and the girl and the beer and the fried chicken. Oh, yeah, a little bit of chicken fried. They're going to love this music for the rest of their lives. So it's perspective,
It really is. And you know what? As long as they're loving music and not doing anything out there, doing any harm to anybody, I don't care. And you know what? I felt like for a long time I felt very protective over country music, and there's obviously there's stuff I love, there's stuff I don't love, but you know what? It is bringing a new side of country music fan into country music, where hopefully they'll be able to dive deeper into these songs and the references that are in these new songs and be like, hey, who's this Hank Williams guy they're talking about, or who's Johnny Cash? And I hope they do. Like, I hope they can really discover where country music came from and not just take everything that comes out as face value. Because, I mean, like you said, we're standing on the shoulders of great people. And, I mean, you really got to give credit to the originals, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're talking about the 80s and the 90s. I mean, they were mixing country and rap together, just experimenting with everything. I got no problem with that. Back in the 80s, we were stealing. We were sampling. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. Not stealing, sampling music to make new beats. Oh yeah, and that's what we did as kids. But I could talk to you for hours, man. But I want to let you go back to your lovely family and back to what you're doing. I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. As time progresses, Travis Pickering, you've got an open door policy here. It's been good talking to you. But I always finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by, something you heard a long time ago, maybe a mantra that you wake up with every morning, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Travis Pickering, give the last words for the people.
The best one that I live by and I go by is something my dad said: happiness is not the destination, it's the journey.
Oh, my goodness. Travis Pickering, what a cool dude. Check him out everywhere. Find it. His website is travispickering.wixsite.com/Travis Pickering. That's a lot of Travis Pickerings. If you look him up on the Instagram, that gives you a lot of insight. You could find that Wix site right there on his Instagram, Travis Pickering Music on Instagram, and then his socials are all up on top of the website. I'll put them. I got them right down there, right below in the show notes. So slide into his DMs, business only. Invite him to play at your place of business, and you could do a whole lot worse than hanging out and listening to Travis Pickering. He's smooth, man. Check out his YouTube page. It's got a lot of cool videos, a lot of content, of him singing other people's songs and him singing his own songs and singing with his dad. That's cool in itself, man. Bringing families together with music, bringing people together with music. That is awesome. Well, I look forward. Thank you so much, Travis Pickering, for being on the podcast, on the What Makes You Famous podcast. That's it for this edition. I look forward to hearing more from you. Now, I turn my attention to you. If you, my loyal listener, would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's keysdan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.